Alright, so I've had a couple of questions on this truck, and more importantly my parts truck, which I had a little bit of an explanation for right here. This is where it all started. This is the original 71 F100 short bed, and I've been working on this thing for probably 3 or 4 years now. I kind of lost count. This is just how it sits here. How it sits here now. We're in New York now. Drove all the way up here, spent time with the fam, and we're gonna grab this truck and head on back. See the car trailer outside. We're gonna load this thing up with a bunch of stuff. That's all F100 parts there. Original motors under there, and then I got some other stuff to bring too. But we're gonna clean this all up, put it on some rolling wheels and tires, and then I'll go over this truck a little bit more thoroughly. Alright, so you're probably asking yourself, what is this thing and why do I care? Well, quick overview of this thing. This thing is my 3-year project. I don't know how long it's been. It's a 71 F100, and I started this thing in high school, and ever since I've done this thing, changed something, gone back, redone it, etc. Figured out that this truck is just way too rusty for what I'm doing right now. But it's just part of the learning process, you know. Learning how to build, learning how to put something together. But anyways, short box truck is exactly what I wanted. I, fell in love with this body style of the truck, and I'll show you everything all about this thing. This thing has a Lincoln Mark 8 4-valve 4.6 mod motor, and right now has a 470W. That's subject to change, but this is the later gen core support. This is the Mark 8 radiator with fans. That's all mounted up. I just put the inner fender and fender on, but where it kind of gets good here is there's a Crown Vic suspension and subframe, disc brakes, everything. Lopped off all the I-beam stuff and put this on, made the lower control arm mounts, and then the motor sits right on that. Give you a better look at it. You gain a lot of stuff: struts, control arms, the geometry of steering, rack and pinion, power steering, disc brakes, dual calipers, sway bars. A lot of stuff swapped in here, and the motor mounts from a police car pretty much bolt up to this mod motor block, all aluminum, sits in there. Made the tranny cross member, and in the back you can see the IRS from a Thunderbird, or also a Lincoln Mark 8. I have the Lincoln Mark 8 control arms and center diff with 410s and Ford Racing clutch pack, the track lock, limited slip, and then it has re-drilled hubs and rotors on the outside. This is just all cleaned up, but I did make all the mounts for that, the coil bucket, rear mounts, everything there. So what's going on right now? Pretty much I'm in New York. This truck was built in New York. I used to live here. Got a job since, and we've moved everything down to North Carolina except for this truck. So we're here around the holidays, ready to pick this truck up. I'm slamming it together right now. That's pretty much this whole video is slamming this truck back together temporarily, just to drag it all down to North Carolina, and then we're gonna work it over from there. The plan is that white truck I bought a couple videos ago. I'm going to be taking pretty much most of the sheet metal off of it, like the fenders, the inner fenders, the cab, the doors, and the long bed, and we're going to be putting it on here. This is a short bed truck. We're going to be shortening it just like this bed was. This bed used to be a long bed, and I since chopped it, but we're going to take the long bed, shorten it, put it on this frame, all the other sheet metal, and then we're going to put the good with the good, because there's still a lot of rust. Obviously needs a floor, needs all these squares. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done to this bed. Like, I put a whole floor pan in here. It's got a new cab mount down in there. There's a lot of work in this, but there's still a lot of work to go. I already have pretty cheap truck, and we're gonna put the good on the good chassis and make it work from there. So pretty much I laid the bed floor in. This is just some Chevy rib bed flooring I had laying around. I just trimmed the edges roughly and got it squared and cut all the cross braces out from underneath it. And then just zip screwed it in, you know. I ran the big bed bolts through all the way just to hold everything down. So pretty much the next step is to put the doors on. And if anybody knows old classic vehicle like this big old truck, these doors are a bear. It feels like carrying a refrigerator. So I'm going to try something different, hanging from the rafters, and see if I can't hang the doors a little bit easier. So here it is. Put the grill on the bumper and the hood on, obviously. Looks pretty cool. Never really seen how complete this thing was until now, so I guess it's pretty cool. See how low the rear end is and how much the front needs to come down, which is a good amount, probably 2 or 3 inches in the front, depending on if I keep the rear suspension this low. But yeah, pretty complete. So another day here, more snow, and we're all loaded up. There's a lot of back and forth on how to get these all to fit here in the truck on, so I didn't record much of it, but yeah, it's all on here. Pretty much with the Chevy motor and the transmission, we just kind of stuck it in here, stuck it on the tire. There's no oil pan or pickup tube on it, so we just stuck it on the tire. That's pretty solid. I did have the transmission on this because I wanted them to overlap, but didn't really work out. This would have been too far forward or kicked out too much into the bumper of the truck, and so I took it off, just have it sitting there, just kind of trying to figure out how to get this to totally stay here. But yeah, that's pretty much the setup there. Pretty full on the front end here, and then the truck, ghetto winch, ghetto chain this winch on here and winch it up. The cable goes to the rear suspension all the way in the back, and other than that, we got to finish up a couple other things. I want to get the tailgate latched up. I'm going to make a back window out of plywood just for the trip home because the back glass is out of it, but there you go. Pretty much it's back in North Carolina, came here in one piece like it should, all strapped down pretty good. So I loaded a bunch of other stuff up into the cab and then into the bed, but unfortunately it's gonna have to sit like this for a while until the shop's done getting built. Should be pretty soon though, so can't really complain. But we got, you know, both F100s here, and start tearing it apart and trying to make one good truck out of everything.